All right, hey, it's 1 o'clock, and we're pulling into the Boise airport to pick up Kirstie Ennis, elite adaptive athlete, former Marine, helicopter door gunner. She's going to be our guest here tonight at one of our 43 Inc. speaker sessions here in Idaho.
I know he's walking towards me.
Yeah.
How are you?
Great to see you.
He doesn't give
Yeah. Let's do this.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So what's next? What's your next big thing coming up?
I'm running the Ironman 70.3 in Oceanside.
Okay.
On April 4th on behalf of the Challenge Athletes Foundation. So
That's
super
big.
stoked.
Yeah.
Yep. And then at the end of May, I'm actually climbing Denali, reattempt, my redemption round, as I'm calling
right.
it. And then in November, I'm going to up my ante from a half marathon to running the New York City Marathon in November on behalf of Challenge Athletes Foundation. So
Great.
pretty excited, busy.
Yeah. A lot of training going on at that.
Okay, rolling, camera B, rolling, A, speed sound, camera C, sync clap.
I want to welcome everybody to the Mission 43 podcast. I'm Brian Von Herbulis, the host, here with co-host Dan Nelson. Did the Marine Corps provide you what you were looking for? You know, when you first went through the process, did you get what you wanted out of it?
I loved the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it. Had no desire to get out. I'm kind of that person that really needs to have a schedule and have a routine, or else, like, you guys hear me, I'm an idea factory. I'm all over the place all the time. So for me, like, that structure was really, really great. And I just loved, like, going in every day and knowing what my purpose was or what my role in the grand scheme was. And for me, like, that outlined everything else, you know, like going into something and, like, having that confidence that you can make a difference, that you will make a difference. I think I've carried that with me throughout everything at this point. I walk into a room and I hold my head high and I poke my chest out a little bit, and, you know, it's just because of everything that I learned in the military at this point.
So we look forward to tonight, and let's do it. So, all right. Thank you. How are you, man? Good to see you. Welcome.
Well, I think with what a lot of these veteran service organizations doing, I mean, they're bridging the gap between what the government should be providing for our veterans and, what they're not. So by the civilian sector stepping up and supporting our veterans, and then, quite frankly, our veterans unifying and providing the services that we need and still want, it speaks volumes. Just because our uniform comes off and we get handed that DD-214, that doesn't mean that our service to one another ends. So moving forward, I think just really, it shows what that unit cohesion in the military was all about. With what Mission 43 is doing, I think it's amazing. We still have that brotherhood even after the uniform comes off.
Ladies and gentlemen, please help me in welcoming Kirstie Ennis to the stage. Welcome, Kirstie.
So June 23rd, 2012 should have been fairly routine. There was nothing out of the norm. It was going to be a combat resupply mission. We were going to drop off space available Army medics to a forward operating base called Nowzad. And then I was going to go onward to an area called Musakala and do an extraction of Marines. And unfortunately, I never made it to the point of going to get those Marines that needed help. The last thing that I remember was my pilot basically saying crash is imminent. So basically to come off of my triggers, take a step back from my 50 cal and just hang out and wait. And next thing you know, it was the craziest thing. So I knew we were crashing. I knew we were going to hit the ground. I had my night vision goggles down. And in my head, I didn't pray or panic. I just counted down as if I was going to when the helicopter would land safely. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mains on deck. And in that moment, obviously everything just went black. I'll never forget is my dad looking at me on that 1-year anniversary of my Alive Day with tears in his eyes. And he said, you've got to be kidding me. The enemy couldn't kill you, and now you're going to do it for them. You're going to roll over now and give up. And that's exactly what I needed. I needed somebody to say, hey, give me that reality check. But on the flip side of that, my mom's a saint. I don't know how she dealt with me for so long. But the hardest thing for my mom to do was to look at me and say, do it your dang self. There were times that obviously I'm not walking, I'm in a wheelchair, I'm in a back brace, neck brace, the whole nine. And I didn't want to do things for myself. You know, I wanted to feel disabled, if you will, and my mom never let me. And for a mother, I cannot imagine what that's like, but that's probably one of the greatest gifts that she's ever given to me.
So you got some tough love.
From Marine parents.
Yeah. And probably much needed tough love in the state you were in mentally. Would you say that was kind of the aha moment in the hospital with your dad telling you, like, stop, like, you've got to own this, you've got to accept this, and you've got to move forward from this?
Yeah, I mean, in that moment, like, I couldn't show up for myself anymore. So I needed somebody to hold me accountable, and I needed somebody to say those things to me so that I could show up for them, you know? I mean, if I was going to give up on myself, you know, so be it, but there's a lot of men and women that never made it home. And I can't give up on them, and then I can't give up on the people around me that care about me, that need me and love me. So, I don't know. I mean, if there's anything that you guys take away from tonight, like, all it takes is hearing the right thing from the right person at the right time.
Service comes for all of us. We don't back down because we're hurt. We get up because we're hurt. Service members know that. And you know what we know, Dan? You know what we know? That CAF Idaho can't kick butt without Mission 43. So give it up for yourselves, everyone.
But the reason that we're all sitting here in this room together is that the JA and Catherine Albertson Family Foundation made a very big decision about 9 months ago to bring CAF to Idaho in a very intentional way. And what we get to do is create clinics, do grants, and really show our athletes and their families how treasured they are here in the state of Idaho. And that is special.
I want to know what your message is to the adaptive athletes in the room, or the aspiring adaptive athletes in the room. They're here, they're present, and what's your message to them?
It's the 6 inches between your ears and what's behind your rib cage that dictate what you're capable of. I mean, I kid you not. Everything that I've done at this point in my life, it's because I kept my head and my heart in the right place. I mean, you can convince yourself to, quite literally, or pun intended, put one foot in front of the other every single day. But it's all just, I mean, it's up to you in here and up here.